everybody. So today is Belle Let's Talk Day, talk about mental health. So I thought maybe today I would talk about how I'm doing with mental health. I'm not an expert, so I'm not trying to give advice to anyone, but I'm just going to kind of tell you where I'm at and what's been working for me and what hasn't been working for me. So when I got diagnosed with cancer, it flipped my little world upside down, as you can imagine. It came with a lot of different changes. So I had to stop my teaching job like immediately. That day that I got my diagnosis, I did not go back to my classroom. I had to move back in with my parents. I had to stop seeing my friends. I couldn't socialize anymore because of COVID. And I had to be strong for chemo, so I basically had to isolate myself. Also, I experienced a breakup. I was with this person for about 4 years, so not a good time for that at all, but that's also what happened. So lots of things happened that I wasn't expecting in a very short period of time, because now I'm on to month 4 being in treatment, and I can't really say I expected any of these things to happen. I did get a puppy though, and that was very good. So the hardest part right now with cancer for me has been managing those changes and trying to feel sad and grieve those changes and those losses, but then also look forward and try to move on in a way. I don't know if move on is the right word, but look at my goals in the future and try to make tangible steps to get there, because I really like to be productive. So when I'm sick on chemo, I have a really hard time with that because I'm not able to get out of bed. I'm not able to paint. I'm not able to walk the dog. I'm not able to do those things that make me feel productive. So I try to take full advantage of the days that I feel healthy and try to make steps in that direction. So basically, I kind of wanted to touch on a few things, kind of my mindset right now. And then maybe it'll help you with your mindset, whether you're going through cancer or a breakup or whatever, something else. So first thing that I've been kind of thinking a lot about is when negative things happen, so whether it's rejection or a diagnosis or whatever in life, trying to use that negative energy, I'm going to call it, to think of ways to move forward in a positive way. So I think you have to still acknowledge that something bad has happened, and you can be sad about that and grieve that, but then also try to think really hard about what it is that you need in order to get to the next point in your life. So I've been spending a lot of time with that. And then with that being said, when you have these ideas of like, hey, this is what I really like, or this is what I really need, is to act on them fast, which I think is something that we've been told our whole life not to do. But I'm starting to realize that when we think too long about things, we just don't do them. Even with like my painting and stuff and starting my own art business, if I didn't act on things right away, I wouldn't be where I am today. So instead of overthinking things, just start doing things. Start doing those little steps to get to the next point. Like for me, one of the things that really bother me is that I don't have my space. I don't have my own space. I don't have a place to do all my art in one spot. So what I'm doing is I'm every day checking real estate to look for a place that I can buy. So every day I try to do something that's going to get me to the next place. Or every day I try to sell a painting so that I can put that money towards a down payment to get my place. Like I just need to do these little baby steps, but at least that they're getting me forward somewhere, and that helps me. So trying to be productive, well, as productive as you can. But now I don't want to tell people that you need to burn yourself out, because obviously I have days where I don't feel good and I do throw pity parties, and those are usually right after chemo, and I am not productive at all. I can't even, like, the most productive thing I do is make it from my bedroom to my bathroom, and that's a win. Or maybe for food, which is great. So yeah, basically this has been the most challenging year. Well, last couple of months, it hasn't even been a year, for me, and it's definitely challenged me in my mental health. And I think you find power in recognizing the bad feelings that you feel, and you have to let yourself feel those bad feelings, or else you won't be able to move forward, if that makes sense. So finding something that gives you passion and excitement in life, I think is really important, because for me, it's my painting. I can wake up every day and be like, yes, I'm going to paint, and that's something that I'm excited about, and that helps me feel like I have a purpose and that I'm doing something. And I would encourage everyone to maybe start making a list over the next few weeks and write down everything that makes you really happy over those next few weeks, and then try to see if you can find a common thread. Like maybe it's a moment that you're in a leadership role that makes you feel happy, or maybe it's journaling. I don't know what it is, but or eating something and find those common trends, and then at the end look back and be like, oh, that's something that I'm passionate about, and that's maybe this outlet that I need to help me get through these moments. Because for me, I think it's painting. That outlet has helped me get through. Gives me purpose. I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have my painting. Honestly, during chemo, I have no idea what I would have done. I would have gone crazy. And having a dog helps me too, because he forces me, Eddie is his name, to get outside and to get walking, even when it's a blizzard like it is right now. So fresh air is super important. And then I was going to talk to you about like anxiety, because now when I go for chemo, like I already feel sick before I get there, and I have to take meds to help like calm me down so that I can actually go through with the chemo, but my doctors are always checking in with my mental health too. But I think if you don't ask for help, and if you don't say like, this is what I need, then you probably aren't going to get it. So you have to be brave and take that courage to ask for that help. And I also would like to say that I think rage gives you a lot of courage. And in my situation, I have a lot of, I don't want to call it anger, but I feel like a lot of this is really unfair. So I filter that energy into courage, and then I try to push through with that, if that makes sense. Thank you for listening. Also, I forgot to mention a couple little things. So first of all, I took my wig off to show you what I look like without my wig. It's growing, but it's also falling out. That's why it's so patchy. Losing my hair was one of the worst traumatic things I have honestly gone through, which is crazy to say, and I feel very shallow saying it, but it is what it is. Now, losing your hair on top of being dumped around the same time also doesn't help. So that has been very challenging for me, but it is what it is. And one thing that I didn't mention that I wish I did before was just that when you are going through a hard time, like right now, basically right now, what I'm trying to think of is, what will I miss about this moment in my life 5 years from now, 10 years from now, down the line? And so when I think about that and I look back, I think what I will miss about this time is kind of I kind of feel a little bit fearless in a way. Like I'm very like, well, if I can get over stage 4 cancer, I can do anything. So that mentality. Also, spending this time with my mom and my family. Like I'm with my mom every single day. She works from home, and I can't say I ever thought that when I was 29 years old I would be spending this much one-on-one time with my mom. And so that's kind of unique and special in its own way. And I think years from now I'll look back on this time and I'll be like, wow, that was such a cool thing. And well, just being at home and being able to explore things that I would have never been able to before, like my art. So I've been able, I'll look back, and when I go back to work, I'll be like, man, that was so cool that I could wake up and I could just do what I love full force. If I felt well enough, there's not that same pressure as like your 9-to-5 job, but I'm still doing something that I love and working hard at. So anyways, so yeah, basically my point is think about when you're in a hard time, what you will miss about that hard time when you're older, because there's so much that you're learning in those hard times. It's hard to obviously know what you're learning when you're in them, but there's obviously lessons being learned. So yeah, just thinking about it that way.